Now there's another community that I got to know better when I was in Maribor, standing outside in the evening, and I was very tired, just arrived in Maribor, and out comes a group of very energetic people. And they look at me and say, "Oh, Hugo, oh." I said, "Oh, who are you?" And they say, "We are geologists. We are going out and we're going to have a drink with, because one of our colleagues here, you know, is a farmer. Join us, join us." I said, "Yeah, tomorrow, you know." No, just join us." That night, they adopted me in their community. And luckily, I did not have to moderate a thematic plenary the day after. But one of the things that I learned, what they were doing there in that room so energetically, they were proposing a project which was called One-Geology Europe. And the name says it all. Since then, we have been working very closely together with EuroGeoSurveys, another network. And let me tell you one little anecdote, a very recent one. Luca Demicheli, the Secretary General of GeoSurveys, met last week, was it last week? I think last week with our Director General to discuss, amongst other things, the importance of geological data in the circular economy and so on. And my Director General, he's always very curious to learn what's living out there. And at one stage he looks at Luca and he says, "Mr. Demicheli, INSPIRE, is that actually useful?" Luca, surprised, I see his eyebrows go up. He says, "No, INSPIRE is not useful. INSPIRE is a necessity." And there, Luca, I would hand over to you to explain to us why it is a necessity. Thank you very much.
Good morning. So thanks, Hugo, for this very nice introduction. What Hugo unwisely omitted to say is that I'm Italian. And as every Italian, I tend always to speak too long. And moreover, I've got also bad news for you. I've got too many slides. So, and since Hugo is also not even the strictest chair, and I don't want to abuse of his kindness for having invited us here, I will auto-regulate myself. I promise to be short, and so I will probably skip some of those. I am a geologist. We represent public institutions. We are the public sector. And today I want to have a slightly different approach, so I'm not going to talk about actually what INSPIRE still needs to do in order to achieve, but rather why INSPIRE is so useful for us as a geological surveys community, but also for all of you, both either you are from the industry, from the public sector, from the university, etc., with some practical examples on what are the real benefits of applying INSPIRE. It has changed actually our way of working in a way. We, similar to EuroGeographics, we have a full European coverage. We have only one agency per country, the National Geological Survey, that is actually the agency that is responsible for all the subsurface. And we have a clear mandate. We are responsible legally responsible within the national frameworks for all what it is data and information related to research, collection, management, interpretation, delivery, and monitoring. So it's a huge spectrum of activities we are mandated for. But the most important is that these activities, these sectors are really, really different. And as you will see in a while, Hugo just mentioned One-Geology Europe. That is the first attempt that, thanks to INSPIRE, has allowed us to work together and to put together the national geological maps, to create one single geological map for Europe that is freely available to everyone for download. And without INSPIRE, definitely we would have not been forced to do this all together. And it is unique in the world. It's not only something exceptional for ourselves, but really sets the European Union apart from this point of view. We don't only deal with onshore data information, also with offshore information. Later on we will have something on IMONET. We are responsible for all the geological map of IMONET, and Europe will soon have have also a complete geological coverage of the European seas. We have already completed the North Sea, and this is linked to One-Geology. So there will be one single European map of INSPIRE compliant for onshore and offshore information. But then we deal with geochemistry. And although this is, for instance, the geochemical atlas of agricultural soils. So if you want to know where the meat, from where the meat, the cows, cattle, where our cattle are fed, on what grounds, if there is arsenic, uranium, etc., you can see this through these maps. So they are useful for many, many aspects, not only environmental issues, but also for the industry, because the industry wants to know if a soil is contaminated with anthropogenic reasons, or if there are substances in soil that are naturally provided through the rocks. Or waters. This is very useful also for the consumers, because European bottled water is groundwater. So by studying these aspects, we also have an understanding of health and environment implications. But it also has a lot of economic implications, as you can understand. And all of this, of course, goes on a map again. So this is an example of vanadium in bottled water. Then there is all the aspects related to mineral resources. We run the European Minerals Yearbook. And again, thanks to INSPIRE, the European Union, for the first time last year, has published its first European Minerals Yearbook. Before, it's a paradox, but the European Union colleagues had to go into the USGS, the United States Geological Survey website, to get information on European data. And then mineral deposits. This is, so the mining activities, here there is a database of 13,000 records. Or landslides, geohazards, 800,000 records. So a huge amount, as you appreciate, of completely different sectors. And this is all INSPIRE compliant. So we thought, after having started all of this, to have very well advanced. Nevertheless, a few years ago, the European Parliament posed a further challenge to us and asked the European Commission for officially if creating a European Geological Service was a necessity for the European Union. And this really has generated a lot of concern within our community. Our directors generals met, there were long debates and discussions, and we decided to react. And we react using INSPIRE as a base. So to use actually One-Geology Europe as a base and to provide this service, we developed a strategy. I will only go very quickly through the second pillar of the strategy, that is about the setup of a European geological data infrastructure. So to take all these databases that you have seen, to just a few examples just now, and to put all together into one single box, exactly like INSPIRE is doing. To put, of course, only the geological information layers, but into one single box where people can directly go and pick up all this information. We made a feasibility study with many stakeholders, international organizations, European commissions, industry, etc. For instance, the insurance companies that have a logical interest in this information, because this is also money for them. And the results of this study was quite striking, because we analyzed about 80 projects carried out by us between 2012 and 2014 in 10 sectors. And the most interesting point out of this study is that the European Commission and ourselves invested between 400 and 700 million euro, but only a few of those 80 projects were still available, sustained. And this was scaring, actually, because it's a huge amount of money wasted. So we decided that this should be over and all this should be maintained. So our spatial information expert group, many of them are with us today, started the implementation of the European Geological Data Infrastructure that was launched last 14th of June in Brussels, very successfully, I have to say. And now it is a reality. In this portal that you see the link in the slide, there is already a prototype that is perfectly functioning, and where you can have access through a very simple system through this information. So the National Geological Surveys provide through this box the various information layer that is all harmonized, INSPIRE compliant, and then is provided to international organizations, European Union, programs, etc. This is an example of what you see in the portal. And there you can see all this information and go there and browse and play with a huge amount of data. This is minerals information. You can carry, you can go through geological maps. Again, go into the details of geology. You can do the ground movements, ground deformations, if it moves. Ground deformations, various type of data. These are the aquifers, for instance. It is the geochemistry of Europe. This is geothermal information. This is geophysics, and so forth. So really, it's a fantastic tool. I have to say, still a prototype. There is just some of the huge amount of information that we would be able to provide into that. But what we can say, certainly we can state that now there is for the first time a home for pan-European geological datasets and services from past and ongoing projects, and that we will stay there forever because we will maintain it. Data from 13 projects from thousands of national datasets are already available on a common platform with more than 600 data layers covering energy, groundwater, mineral resources, geohazards, and soils. But obviously, many others are not yet there. This could be done with our own resources, and this is, I think, that I have to thank both my colleagues that have set this up and our members that have put the resources. And I think that considering the effort that has been done so far is already an amazing achievement. EGDI is supporting the implementation of INSPIRE. We said this, is able to support other and willing to support other infrastructures. Currently, there is no long-term funding. This is our own challenge that we hope to overcome soon. But the good news is that an expert delivery of geoscientific data is now in progress for all of us. And for those of you who are interested into the details, I didn't bother you with the technical details, of course, but today there is a special session at 2 in room A where our colleagues will go there into the questions. Thank you very much for your attention.